Okay, can everyone see my
Yes,
PowerPoint?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
All
beautiful.
right, well, good morning, everyone. So I've been living in France for a month already, and I'm going to share with you my experience with the TAPIF program. Okay, so I am currently living in Clermont-Ferrand, which is a small town located in the middle of France. It has a population of about 150,000 people, and it's located in the department of Puy-de-Dôme, in the region of Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, which is this big region. And it's 250 miles away from Paris. But I should say that it was quite a hassle to get from Paris to Clermont-Ferrand when I got here because I landed in Paris at 2 p.m. and then I took the metro to the train station in Paris. I was originally planning to take the train to Clermont-Ferrand, but unfortunately there were no more trains for the rest of the day. And so I decided to take the bus, a Flixbus. Um, if I would have taken the train, it would have taken me 3 hours to get to Clermont, but I took the bus and it took me 7 hours to get there. So I got to Clermont at 1 a.m. I was awake for about 33 hours throughout my trip. So yeah, and then the following day I slept for 14 hours and I woke up at night the following day. Yeah. And the city I work in is actually Moulin. Um, let's see if I can minimize this. Add the okay, there you go. Okay, Moulin is the city. It's a city. I mean, a small town located north of Clermont-Ferrand. It's about 60 miles apart, 60 miles away from Clermont. Um, and it's a very small town. It's very beautiful, but I don't think there's anything to do there. So I'm happy to live in Clermont because it's bigger. And I'm fortunate that I can take the train to Milan to work. It takes about an hour. And the train I take is it's the TER, which is the regional train in France, the regional train that serves the Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes region. And what's cool about this train is that it reaches speeds of about 100 miles per hour. So it goes pretty fast for 60 miles in 1 hour, which is pretty cool. And these are some pictures of the city I live in, Clermont. So there is a tram system, but I don't like to use it. And the reason why is because it's always crowded and I'm claustrophobic. So yeah, and this is a picture of the cathedral in Clermont-Ferrand. It's called the let's see, it's called the Notre Dame de l'Assomption. It's very beautiful. I think construction of this cathedral started about 800 years ago, and it was completed in the early 20th century. So yeah, it's very beautiful. And here there's a picture of the Michelin headquarters because this is the tire company started in the city of Clermont-Ferrand, which is very popular. I think a lot of things are named after Michelin, especially the stadium. I live next to the I think it's a rugby stadium, and it's called the Michelin Stadium. And this is my favorite spot in Clermont-Ferrand. It's a town square. It's the city's town square. It's called Place de Jaune. And you can find anything here, restaurants, shops. There's a big mall. And yeah, I also come here to buy my cheese. I have a favorite cheese now. It's the Cantal Entre Deux. Well, two favorite cheeses, Cantal Entre Deux and the Saint-Nectaire. And these are some pictures that I took of Moulin, which is a pretty small town. It has a cathedral, actually two cathedrals, but they're pretty small compared to the cathedral in Clermont-Ferrand. And the roads are also very small. Most of the roads are one-way streets, and there's a Ferris wheel as well. All right, and this is a map of Moulin. It shows the schools I go to. I actually work in three schools, and they're all 20 minutes apart, 20 minutes away from the train station in walking distance. So I actually work 3 days a week. I work Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And yes, let's see. Yeah, so for example, I guess Monday I start here at this school, Leonardo da Vinci. And then Tuesday I go to this school, Legato. And then Thursday, I go to Jean Massé, this elementary school. They're all elementary schools, by the way. And Jean Massé for Thursday and Leonardo da Vinci for Thursday afternoon. Yeah. But one thing I have to say is that I do have to wake up very early to take the train to Milan. Although I start at 9 a.m. Tuesdays and 11 a.m. Mondays and Thursdays, I have to take the 7 a.m. train to Milan because it's the latest train that's going to get to Milan and for me to get to school on time. But it's fine because it gives me time to explore the city. I go for a walk and, just, yeah, just take a tour of the city. And my tasks, so about my tasks, I teach students that range between the ages of 6 and 11. And my job is actually to, let's see, I'm sorry. All right, so yeah, so my job is actually to create lessons for the week. And the task is to improve their English oral skills. So I do have to create these lessons. We choose the vocabulary they're going to learn for the week based on the theme they're learning. So for example, on my left screen, this is for next week. We're going to learn about San Francisco, and I have to pick some vocabulary words about San Francisco. And so I have to create a PowerPoint for that. And I also have to create what's called an opening ritual. So for every class, at the beginning of class, I will ask questions, simple questions like, how are you? What's the weather today? What day it is? And yes, they'll have to respond in English. And of course, we're going to go through the responses they can give in English as well. And here on my right screen, I have a PowerPoint that I gave during my first week as a teaching assistant. So for the first week, I actually gave a self-presentation. I talked about my family, talked about myself, about the city where I'm from. And I showed a lot of pictures of LA, and the students loved it very much. They were astonished of how big LA is. And yeah, they kept asking me a lot of questions about my life, a lot of questions about the US. And yes, they're very kind. And of course, about the lessons that I do plan to create. I plan to create different types of lessons based on the grade levels. So for example, for the 6-year-olds, I would give a much simpler lesson than to the students of 11 years of age. And so now I'm going to talk about my life in France. So here, it's a picture of me with some Spanish assistants that I met during a tour that we took in Clermont-Ferrand. And here are 2 pictures of my apartment. I actually live in a 6-story apartment building on the 4th floor. And this is inside my bedroom, and I have access to a balcony. And from the distance, you can actually see the cathedral of the city, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so I'm living in a 2-bedroom apartment with a friend and his girlfriend, who I met on a language exchange website, called Conversation Exchange. So this is the website where I made several French friends. Before applying to the program, Dr. Pedrini recommended me to try out this website in order to improve my French skills. And so I did. And so on this website, you can go on and you can search for someone who speaks the language you are learning and is learning the language you speak. And so that way you guys can help each other out. And on this website, I made 4 French friends. And I'm still in touch with all of them. We kept in touch through WhatsApp, and we sent each other voice messages, and we made FaceTime calls all the time. And one of the friends that I found on this website is actually my roommate, who very kindly decided to accommodate me when I came to France. So, I'm so fortunate because I'm lucky because I didn't have to struggle to look for an apartment when I got here. I knew where I was going to go. And here I want to show you some pictures of my favorite food. It's actually called la raclette. La raclette is my favorite food. So in order to do la raclette, you must have a raclette grill. And so what you do is you get 2 slices of your favorite cheese, and you're going to place it on top of this small pan. And then you place the pan inside the grill so it can melt. And then what you're going to do is you're going to grab some bacon, ham, or chicken slices, and you're going to put them on top of the grill so they can cook. And then you'll boil some potatoes. And once the cheese has melted inside the grill, you take it out, you take the pan out, and you pour the cheese on top of your potatoes, along with the ham, bacon, or chicken slice you put on the grill, so which is very, very delicious. And here I have several type of cheeses that I've tried. For example, I think this one's La Montagne, which is pretty good. This one's my favorite, le Cantal entre deux, and also le Sans Nectar, which is also my favorite. This one is called the Salaire. It's a bit strong, but it's still good. And this is the blue cheese. The blue cheese is actually very strong, and so it's not my favorite cheese. All right, and lastly, I want to talk about some good habits that I've adopted ever since I've been living here this past month. So I feel like I've adopted good habits. I've become more environmentally friendly because I don't drive a car. So I haven't driven in a month. I actually walk and take the train. And I think I've reduced my carbon footprint by a lot. I also don't buy water bottles like I used to back in the US. I drink tap water, which is pretty safe to drink. And of course, I save water and electricity. I leave the lights off most of the time, and I don't let the sink water and the shower water run for too long. So for example, when I brush my teeth, I turn off the water, and then to rinse, I turn it back on. Same with the shower. While I'm adding some shampoo or body wash, I will turn the faucet off. And so, yeah, these are things that I didn't do back in the US, and hopefully I can stick to these habits and take them with me back to the US. But yeah, and that's my presentation. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you also. Thank you very much, Kenny.
Yeah, merci beaucoup. Okay, let me share my screen. I'm going to hand the baton to Madame Remy as she has something to share. Yes?
Yes, but maybe someone wants to ask just before I take the baton.
Sure. Okay.
Someone a question to Kenny?
I have a question, Kenny.
Okay.
How long do you plan do you want to stay in France forever now? Because I would want to stay there forever.
I would stay. I don't miss LA yet.
Very
no,
good.
I actually do. Do you know Raising Cane's?
No.
Raising Cane's, the restaurant. It's yeah, I miss Raising Cane's. So, but that's about it.
Wait, you don't miss French class? You don't miss French class with all your friends? You don't miss your French class?
Yes, and I miss you guys. Yes, of course. Yes.
No, you have the best class ever. It's to be in the country. I think Gail had a question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gail.
So Kenny, when you teach at school, are you immersing those kids in English? Do you speak any French at all when you're teaching the French?
Yes, I do have to speak French because they don't know a lot of English. They only know a few words. So
even the 11-year-olds?
Even the 11-year-olds, yes, they
Okay.
only know basic phrases like I am fine, I am happy, stuff like that. So in order to give instructions, I must give them in French. Yes.
Are they ever correcting your French?
Yes, they were correcting my French. Yes, because while I was giving myself my presentation about myself, I showed them pictures of when I was small, and I kept saying quand j'étais petite, quand j'étais petite, quand j'étais petite, and they were like, no, monsieur, it's not petite, it's petite for you. You don't say
oui.
petite.
But that must make them feel powerful.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so let's maybe Claudine, let's go to the next slide.
Sure.
Which will close